A woman, let's call her Sarah, stormed into my restaurant, loudly proclaiming she was tight with the owner and demanded a prime VIP table reserved for A-listers. The kicker: I'm the actual owner, and I'd never laid eyes on her before. But I decided to play her game and see where it led. During the evening, one of her friends sneered, asking if I felt my life was worthless because I was just a server. That's when I knew I was done playing nice and hatched a plan for some sweet payback. Here's how it went down. This happened around the Christmas and New Year's rush. My grandparents, Italian immigrants, opened this restaurant in Canada back in the 1970s. After they passed, my parents took the reins, expanding it over the years. I started working here as a teenager, and when my parents retired to Florida as snowbirds, they sold the business to me, keeping a small share for extra income. When I took over, I gave the place a facelift, renovated the space, updated the branding, and advertised in local and national outlets. I invited food critics, influencers, and bloggers to spread the word. At first, business was slow, and I worried I'd made a colossal mistake, taking out a loan that might tank 3 generations of family legacy. But then a local YouTuber with a decent following featured us in a video, and things exploded. We went from quiet Mondays to 5 or 10 times our usual traffic. The restaurant became a hotspot for big events, with celebrities occasionally dropping by. I even brought in high-profile guests to cook for patrons, which cost a fortune but paid off. By the holidays, we were booked solid, reservations made in July for December tables. It took years to build this reputation. On busy nights, I'm not hiding in an office. I'm out front, greeting guests, clearing tables, or even cleaning floors. For big events or VIP nights, I suit up and take charge. One evening, 6 women strutted in. 5 looked like early 20s college kids, led by a woman in her mid-20s, Sarah, the ringleader. I figured she might be an older sibling or a senior sorority sister. As they approached, Sarah was hyping up the restaurant, raving about the food and mentioning possible celebrity sightings. She demanded a table for 6. I asked for the reservation name and she blinked, saying she didn't have one but insisted it was fine because the owner's a close friend. She claimed I always kept a couple of tables open for special guests like her. High-end restaurants sometimes hold tables for VIPs, and I'd started doing that too. But I had no clue who Sarah was. She'd never contacted me. She was clearly trying to bluff her way in, but she picked the wrong guy to mess with. I told her politely that we couldn't seat anyone without a reservation, pointing out the packed dining room. I held back from saying, "I'm the owner and we've never met," to avoid humiliating her in front of her crew. She then had one of her friends snap a photo of me, declaring she'd talk to the owner and have me cleaning bathrooms or fired by week's end. Her posse chimed in, mocking me with comments like, "Say goodbye to your dead-end job." I wasn't sure if they were in on her scam or genuinely thought she had connections. Sarah kept pushing, saying, "Give us a table or I'll make your life hell. This isn't worth your paycheck." She belittled me, acting superior, saying things like, "Clearly, you're a nobody here or you'd know who I am and wouldn't dare say no." It had been a rough day and I saw 3 paths forward. Call her out as the owner, give in and seat them, or teach Sarah and her crew a lesson. I chose the third option. Smiling, I said, "Right this way, ma'am," and led them to one of the 3 tables we keep open for unexpected VIPs. I apologized for the mix-up, saying she was right and I'd make it easy by giving them the table. I even threw in the first 3 rounds of drinks on the house. I seated them and personally waited on them. I asked for a credit card and ID to keep on file, which we'd return at the end of the night. Sarah handed over her card, grandly announcing to her friends that she'd cover the evening. I took their orders, served their free drinks, and warned them that due to the busy night, food might take a while. They didn't care, focused only on the free cocktails. They downed 3 rounds without any food, then complained about the delay while giving me attitude. I offered to check on their order but suggested more drinks. They ordered 2 additional rounds. By the time appetizers arrived, they were tipsy, having drunk heavily on empty stomachs with just salads to nibble. They kept ordering pricier drinks and dishes, unaware they were at a VIP table, which usually costs thousands to reserve, though I didn't charge them for it. The VIP menu was different, no prices listed, a common upscale restaurant tactic. It featured luxe items like white truffle dishes, imported caviar, and rare oysters. Partway through, I second-guessed myself, wondering if I was being too harsh. These women might not know better. But then one of Sarah's friends asked if I felt my life was pointless since I was just a waiter. Another staff member overheard them plotting to keep messing with me, assuming I'd always cave and give them a table. I caught comments like, "He's cute, but I'd never date a server, total pushover." Their entitlement fueled me to stick with the plan. By the end of the night, each woman's tab was between $500 and $600. I presented Sarah with a bill for $42.23, including tax and tip. Her face went from giddy to near tears in seconds. She called me over, asking if it was a mistake. I reviewed the bill, apologized, and said I'd fetch the correct one. Relieved, she called me an idiot under her breath and resumed chatting with her friends. When I returned with the same bill, she lost it. I asked if anything listed was incorrect. They pored over every line, even noting the 3 complimentary drink rounds, and triple-checked the math on their phones. Sarah, visibly shaken, said she needed the restroom. I worried she might skip out, leaving her friends with the tab, but I subtly reminded her we had her ID and card. After 10 minutes, she returned with fresh makeup, clearly having cried. She complained about the terrible food and drinks, demanding I have the bill. She brought up her friendship with the owner again, as if it would sway me. I smiled and said, "Sorry, the bill stands." She pulled out her phone, showing me texts from a contact labeled with my restaurant's name plus owner. I realized she'd likely renamed a friend's contact in the bathroom to fake the conversation. I checked the number and said, "That's not the owner's number," she claimed. "He has multiple phones for business. You wouldn't know them all." I offered to call the owner and confirm a 50% discount if he approved. She started yelling, drawing attention from other diners, so I decided to end it. In a firm tone, I said, "Enough, miss. You don't know the owner. You've never been here before. Keep this up and I'll call the police." She tried to backpedal, but I cut her off. "My grandparents built this place. My family's run it for decades. I've worked here most of my life and I'm the sole owner. I've never met you or made you any promises." Her friends were stunned, speechless. Sarah was crying. I continued, "I gave you the VIP table you demanded, which I didn't charge for, plus 3 free rounds of drinks. Pay your bill or I'll call the police with your ID in hand." Sobbing, Sarah signed the receipt. Her friends pooled what cash they had, maybe a few $100s, promising to pay her back later. 2 days later, an angry man came in with Sarah, demanding to speak with me. I was in the back, so he waited half an hour. Sarah kept her head down. In my office, I showed him security footage with clear audio from the VIP area, kept for safety reasons due to past incidents. The footage captured their comments, orders, and behavior. He left, furious with Sarah, yelling at her as they exited. I haven't seen them since. The original bill minus $120 oysters is framed on my desk. Financially, I didn't lose much. The table was meant to stay empty, so no loss there, and their food and drink orders covered the free rounds. So, am I the bad guy? The most shocking part, beyond the money or their attempt to scam a table, was their worldview. One friend's comment about my worthless life as a waiter was a gut punch. I almost eased up on my plan, but her entitled jab, mocking me for a job she thought was beneath her, kept me going. There's nothing wrong with any honest job, whether it's waiting tables or cleaning floors. I hate the mindset that some jobs make you lesser. I was glad the story ended with the father turning his anger on Sarah, not me. The only thing that unsettles me is that we record audio in the VIP area. I get why some might find that creepy, but it's for security. How would you have handled this if you were in my shoes? Was I too harsh or justified? Let me know your thoughts.